So hi guys, I'm Natanya. I'm going to be teaching public speaking, which I'm really excited to talk more about. Talking first about like myself and how I got involved in public speaking. I'm going to be talking about a bit about the skills that you can get from it and just public speaking itself as an experience, why it's so cool, why I love it, why I think you guys will too. Okay, so we're going to start off just talking about like myself. I am a third-year student studying public affairs and policy management at university. So my journey with public speaking first started in grade 10. A teacher approached me and said, "You seem confident, would you like to do a public speaking competition?" My first thought was no way. I really didn't want to do it. I thought, I'm going to embarrass myself, like I'm going to fail, it's going to be so bad. I ended up doing the competition anyway, and I actually did really well. I came third. So I was really excited about that. The next year I went on to start my own public speaking club with a friend of mine, which was really cool. And then after that, we kind of like got into it. We were teaching weekly classes. So I do have some experience teaching public speaking, and I'm really excited to share more with you. I've won and finaled at a couple of competitions, which is very cool. And I just do have a lot of experience in those areas. So hyped to share it all with you. Okay, so like what do competitions look like? I just do want to note that like competitions aren't the most important thing in public speaking. It's more so more of a low pressure thing where you are just kind of speaking about things that you like and speaking about things that you enjoy, but learning how to do that in a persuasive way where people are going to believe the things that you're saying, which is kind of the cool thing about it. But I'm going to talk a bit about like competitions, what they look like, because the class is kind of going to be structured around that. So we're going to practice bits and bobs of everything, which is kind of cool. Okay, so what do competitions look like? So competitions usually have two prepared sections and two more impromptu sessions. So the prepared ones, you get as much time as you want beforehand to do as much preparation as you want. And then the impromptu ones, you don't get so much time. So you get usually the topic on the day of. So for impromptu, which is the first category, there are 3 topics. You get 2 minutes to prepare and then you do a 3-minute speech. So you have to choose one of those topics that you want to speak about. The second one is debate. So it's kind of similar to what Ethan was talking to you about, but it's a little bit different in terms of the format. They do give you like more time to prepare. So there are like differences between it. It's closer to Canadian parliamentary than it would be British parliamentary. So for those of you who have done debate before, that might put things into context for you. Thirdly, so those 2 are the impromptu sections. And then third, you have interpretive reading, which is where you get to read a story. You get to do it in kind of like an emphatic way where you use things like intonation. So that's where you don't spend all your time speaking like this because it can be kind of boring, but instead you use your voice and you kind of vary your tone. And then also just like using facial expressions, all of that kind of stuff to make yourself more persuasive. And then lastly, you have your prepared speech, which can be from 7 to 13 minutes. And that's just where you kind of do a speech on anything you want. So you can talk about anything you want for like 7 minutes. So if you want to have a rant, you can do that. Okay. So that's what competitions look like. So the skills that you gain from public speaking, which I think are probably the most important things. So first, I just think it's really important to hammer in on the fact that the main thing that you'll get from public speaking is confidence, because I think it can be quite daunting when you have to get up in front of people and speak. It can be really scary. I know it was for me. Now I love it, but before it was really scary, and I get that. But I think that the more that you practice and the more that you do it in an environment where you feel like you have control, probably the better it's going to be, right? So it's really just about practicing to get yourself to that point where you don't feel embarrassed, you don't feel scared to talk in front of other people, you just feel kind of comfortable, and it is what it is, right? The second thing is just, it also helps you in conversations. It helps you to get your point across and be very, concise, and it helps you get that across, like whatever you're trying to say. And then thirdly, just I think in a more tangible way for you guys, probably class presentations, because you probably have a lot of those. I know I did. They can be really scary when you have to get in front of a class and talk about a topic that you've learned about or do a presentation on a book. It can be kind of terrifying. So these are all ways in which this will help you in terms of like actually just like kind of putting those skills together and using them in a fun way. Okay, so I'm going to talk a bit about the ways that public speaking has helped me. So you're going to have a presentation on DECA next. I also did DECA. I qualified to provincials 3 times, went to ICDC twice. So you know, DECA is something that I kind of excelled at, and public speaking kind of gave me the foundation in order to do that. Because when it came to case studies, I was never really nervous. I was never really scared. I just felt kind of prepared and kind of relaxed. So public speaking can help you with that. I also did Model UN throughout high school. I was president or secretary general of my high school club, and then also of Horton Mun, which is kind of our regional conference. And then thirdly, debate. I did some in high school. I do it more competitively now in university. I've gotten to quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals at many tournaments, including the Central Canadian Championships. So public speaking has really helped give me the platform to be able to excel at these things, because I no longer have to worry about being afraid about speaking in front of people. It's more so just the content of what I'm saying, right? So I think public speaking can help you with all of these activities. So if you want to do debate, also think about doing public speaking, because it is a really good way to like get better. Okay, so that's a couple of ways that public speaking has helped me, that it can help you too. Next, how will it help me in the future and also help you guys in the future? So I think basic communication skills can go much further than you imagine, right? So this also looks like it being helpful in the workplace, right? So when you have boardroom presentations, for example, or interviews, even trying to get the job, you need to be able to articulate ideas in a way that other people are going to understand, and be able to like get that message across to your audience. And I think that that's really important in terms of like it actually helping you in the future. And then lastly, so who can join? So these classes are going to be from grade 4 to 12. So if you are in maybe grade 3 and you are really excited about public speaking, we would consider kind of making a kind of a change for you, but we are primarily looking at grades 4 to 12. And then just a bit about what the class is going to be like and what we imagine. So I think it's going to be probably roughly a 30-minute lesson at the start, so kind of a seminar, and then more fun activities to do with public speaking. I think it's going to be very interactive. You're going to be using skills, using hand gestures, doing eye contact, practice like controlling the space. It's also going to be watching speeches, doing analysis. So a lot of fun stuff there. In terms of homework, I anticipate there being some homework, but I don't anticipate it being very burdensome at all. So I think that there'll be like some homework, but don't worry about like it being like hours and hours long. I wouldn't do that. I'll open it up to any questions if anybody has any.
Do you have any textbook that you are using for the class?
So I am going to be using the Toastmasters format. So they do have kind of like books that they use. So I'm probably going to be following a lot of that, but I am going to be just putting in some activities. So it is kind of like fun and interactive as well.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Any other questions?
Hi, I have a question. Just like, can you share the presentation with us?
Yeah, of course.
Thanks.
Anyone else?
How could kids practice public speaking online?
Sorry?
How could the kids practice real public speaking online?
So I guess because you're still in a class and you're still in front of other people, you still are practicing public speaking because you are still speaking to other people. I think it is a bit harder to kind of like simulate that audience effect just because of the fact that we are online, but I still think there are a lot of valuable things to be learned in terms of like people standing up and still giving a speech, even if it is in front of a laptop. I think those are still invaluable skills that you can still have. Any other questions?
What kind of topics do
What kinds of topics?
yeah.
Okay, so public speaking is one of those things where you're able to talk about pretty much anything. You can talk about whatever interests you. It can pretty much be on anything. Like my first ever speech, like that first competition I told you guys about, my speech was on Peppa Pig. So it's one of those things where you can kind of talk about anything. You can make it your own. It's like if you're interested in anime, you can talk about anime. Like you can pretty much talk about anything. It's just about using the techniques that you're taught in order to make sure that your language is persuasive and emotive, right? I hope that answers your question. I love the pig emoji.
I have one question.
Yeah.
So what is the class format looks like? Like how, if they're in normal class, what would kids do in the class?
Yeah, so I think the first like 30 minutes would probably be a seminar. So it would probably have like a focus the class. So if one class were focusing on like hand gestures and how to use them effectively and not do too much, but do the right amount, then afterwards we'd probably like go into an activity. So something to do with that, where we could like probably like critique each other, talk about like what we did right, what we did wrong, kind of like reconvene after that. Probably a couple more activities, then yeah.
Thank you.
So it's one of those things that's very interactive. It's not something that you can really do on your own. So it's a good setting to have like other people there. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Awesome. Thanks so much, Natalia.
No problem. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great.